everyone, and welcome to Peach Betty. My name is Morgan. This is Sullivan, my son. Today we are making a boatload of cinnamon rolls. We have family functions all weekend celebrating Christmas, and so our treat is to bring cinnamon rolls. These cinnamon rolls are very simple. We have dissolved our yeast in lukewarm water, scalded our milk, and melted our butter and our sugar together, whipped up an egg, and now we're going to measure out our flour. We need 7 cups of flour. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Great job. Now what we're going to do is mix in all of our wet ingredients with our dry ingredients and start kneading. Here we go. Now this is where your arm is going to get pretty tired. Right now it looks a shaggy mess. You want to make sure we add our salt now. Always add your salt last because salt kills yeast. In it goes. Ready? Count. 1, 2. So now that it's kind of a messy ball, I'm going to go ahead and get in there with my hands. All ready? Let's roll up your sleeves. Reach in and press it under. So if you get a bunch stuck on your hand, just rub it back and forth, and it should come off. So now we're going to dump the dough out onto our counter. And now we have to knead it together until it becomes a nice sturdy dough. You don't want it to be too tough. We want it to be a nice fluffy dough. So if it starts to get tight and kind of contract like over-chewed chewing gum, then you've gone too far. So just get it until it's nice and smooth. Yeah. Good job. Alright, I have a little bit of flour over here thanks to Sullivan, so I'm going to grab some of that so it doesn't stick to the counter. Other than that, you shouldn't really add much flour to this. Alright. Hi. Alright, well, our dough is all done. It's nice and smooth. All I'm going to do now is stick it in a bowl and let it rise for about 2 hours until it's doubled in size. Alright, see you then. Alright. Into a bowl. Okay, you need to be very patient with your dough because it takes a long time to rise, but it is very gratifying when it is ready. Check that out. So you know it's done when it's doubled in size, and when you start to poke it, it starts to deflate. Now all we're gonna do is make sure you take some flour, because it is a little sticky, and dust it on your table. Now, I have this handy cutting board here because my countertop is awful. I'm sure you've noticed, but someone that lived here before me just painted on the countertop and sprinkled that kind of stuff that you use for garage flooring. So while I've been baking, a lot of it has chipped off. So to avoid paint chips in my dough, I have this nice little cutting board that I'm going to roll out on. Once you sprinkle with your flour, go ahead and scoop it out. Smells really good. Now I'm going to cut this in half because this is a double batch. I'm gonna set this one aside. Keep it covered with plastic wrap so it doesn't dry out and get a skin on it. If you get a skin on your dough, then when it bakes, it gets all wrinkly and it's not as pretty to look at. Now we're going to shape this into a rectangle before we start to roll it out. Just the best rectangle you possibly can. That looks good enough to me. Now sprinkle the top with some flour as well, and let's start rolling. We want it to be more long than wide so we get more cinnamon rolls. You want to make sure it's not stuck to your board. So move it in between rolls. My favorite is when you start to roll and you hear those bubbles squeak out. It's a great noise. So we're going to roll this until it's about a little less than ½ inch thick, but more than ¼ inch because we want to have a nice thick dough. That looks pretty good. Measurements, well, it's about as large as my forearm and from fingertip to elbow. Now here I have brown sugar and melted butter with some cinnamon and some pumpkin pie spice because I like the way that stuff tastes. We're gonna take half of this mixture and spread it on top. I'm all about hands-on, so just grab a handful and sprinkle it across. We wanna leave this edge clean so it'll stick to the dough when we roll it up. You wanna make sure that all of your rolls get cinnamon and sugar in there. So don't cheat anybody. Now that I'm all sticky. Now we're going to go ahead and roll it up. So starting from the edge closest to you, get a nice tight roll, work your way down, just kind of lift and tuck like you're rolling up a sleeping bag. And now just keep doing the same thing back and forth. All right, when we get to the end, I like to bring it up to me so I can see that seam and then pinch it all together. Make it nice and tight so nothing falls out. Give it a little bit of a roll, put the seam on the bottom, and now we're ready to cut. Here I have a buttered baking dish, so after they bake, they don't stick to the bottom. We're going to take a serrated knife and cut 1 inch for each roll. A serrated knife is great because it won't squish that beautiful spiral. You want to work in a sawing motion so it keeps that beautiful shape. That looks so good already. I'm just going to keep cutting. You want to leave a little bit of room in the pan so they can expand because they're going to rise for another hour. I had one little oddball, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to just toss them away in a little bit. These little guys are for tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is cover it in plastic wrap and let it rise overnight in the fridge. Then in the morning I'm going to pull them out, let them warm up, and then just stick them right in the oven. See you guys tomorrow. Okay, it's day number 2, and we have taken our cinnamon rolls out of the refrigerator and let them warm up for about 2 to 3 hours. And now they have proofed to where when you poke them, they start to deflate a little bit. So they are ready to go into the oven. They're gonna go in to a 375-degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes until they just start to get golden brown. And then you tap on them and they sound hollow on the inside. Sullivan is gonna mix up some frosting for us in a minute. Timer, 20 minutes. Oh, thank you. So when these guys come out of the oven, we're going to put some frosting on top of them. So we have softened butter here, and then we have powdered sugar and some vanilla. Mix up our powdered sugar. Do you like it? No. More. Ta-da! They're all out of the oven and they smell so good. We're excited to try one. As soon as they come out of the oven, make sure you put your icing on immediately. That way it melts into all those little grooves and crevices and gets nice and gooey. We're ready to dig in. Is it good? Mmm. That's so good. Let me try some. Mmm. These are really good. Are they dance worthy? Dance, dance, dance. 5? Alright. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you like it. Please comment and subscribe so you don't miss any of the videos that we post every Sunday. You can also follow us on Peach Betty on Instagram. And then if you like the outfit that I wore earlier, you can purchase that at our Etsy shop. It's Peach Betty Vintage. Mmm. Say we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Let's have some more. Mm-hmm. Bye bye.